Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today's webinar on editing and editing contact records. My name is Maria, and I will be hosting today's webinar training. Just a gentle reminder for all of our webinars that we do, we primarily use a test account. So all of the data that you are seeing under this data bank is fake. We don't use any real life data, so we don't share any personal information that we see on our screen. So any information you see on screen is not accurate and it does not represent real life data and real life people. So getting started. So for today's training, we want to go ahead and welcome, both new users and also experienced, users that use the data bank. We want to make sure you um, also ask any questions that you might have. So if at any point you have any questions, make sure you pop them in the chat box and we'll have some time towards the end to go over those. For today's learning objectives, we're going to get an understanding on what a contact record uh, is and what the fields consist of, where you can enter contact record information using various methods, looking at where to locate those. We're going to primarily understand again, like I said, the contact record layout, understand where to locate various aspects of your contact record, and also create an activity note. So before I go ahead and dive in right away into the content, I do want to give you guys a reminder that if you happen to have any questions, after this training webinar, you can feel free to reach out to us via the help drop-down menu. Excuse me, and click on the support request. So this will ensure someone in our tech team will answer to your inquiry in a timely manner, as sometimes our inboxes can't get missed with emails. And then, of course, our support center will have more of those frequently asked question support articles, and that's where we also be including the training webinar recordings as well. And if you haven't done so already, feel free to sign up for our upcoming training webinars. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. And at a glance, we can see right away that our dashboard screen looks a little bit different than possibly 2 weeks ago when we last logged in. And so it's been recently updated to where we have these at a glance dashboard cards where it could tell us, okay, these are our total contact records. These are, say, the unposted payments. So if I click on this amount, it's going to take me to my payments page, which again, any data that you see here, it is not real. Maria Tester is not real. And here you would go ahead and click on post. Because we already, like for example, here, there's no anything to submit for processing, there's no need to do that. But if I don't post it, it doesn't show it in a contact record. Going back to my dashboard, if you click on the little gear icon, you can update which summary cards you want to incorporate on your screen. So if I want to take away, all of, let's say total donors or year-to-date average contributions, I can unclick those and then the information on my welcome dashboard is going to get updated. So upcoming meetings, new contacts, etc. Additionally, if you hover over like the dates and click on them, you can filter out, um, specific years to only, update your data on your screen. And last but not least, on the left-hand side, you can filter out based on specific time frame that you want to specify here. So if you want to pick a date, you can certainly do that here. So to get started, we are going to learn where to enter information, right? So the first way that you may have noticed, when, you get new contact records for, new contacts to be created is, by the forms, your web forms, your sign up forms, donation forms, volunteer forms, meeting registration forms, etc. So those forms that are, linked on your website or the emails that you sent out to prospect and our constituents, that information gets fed into your data bank. But on the back end side, the way that you can add a new contact record where whenever which if it's a individual contact record or an organizational contact record, the same process will be the same. So for example, if I were to um, look up, snow test, and there is no such person as snow test inside my data bank, then the first way that I can add this person or individual or organization to my data bank is to click to add a new record, and it's going to take me to this particular page. This page can also be accessed by clicking on the contacts dropdown, and you can click on add contact. So if I click add contact, again, the same page gets populated. So regardless whether you are entering a individual or an organizational contact record, this page will be the same. The only difference will be what information you do populate in this section to indicate that it's an individual versus or an organizational. So today I am going to go ahead and um, list this contact record as, let's say, Mary Tess. That's going to be the first name. And I'm going to show the difference of an individual versus an organizational contact record. And then here for our company, we're going to say our nonprofit. I would like to say that there are no field requirements to make a contact record. So if you wanted to just type, Mary and submit, that would create your contact record. But of course, we do like to say the more information that you enter in the contact record, the better it is, for your data bank itself to ensure that, the information, here is accurate. And if you need to reach out to your constituents via mail, you can do so, or via email. You already have that information because there is an email associated to that contact record. So we'll just say, um, we'll type in this and then we'll put it 123 Dinger Street. You'll notice that when I was typing in the address, it was giving me um, suggestions. And the reason for that is because we do have a partnership with the USPS database. So it does go ahead and recommend potential addresses based on the information you are filling out. You'll notice that here it's not quite doing so because it is a fake address. And so even if I click verify, it's going to say it's not found, right? And that is okay. So I'm going to click OK. And of course, any of these other fields are completely optional. You'll notice that there's a country. A lot of the times they're will not be cases where we fill in the country because most of our contact records will be residing in the United States. But it to those instances where there's individuals that might be, in Europe or something, then you can go ahead and indicate that under that country drop down. Um, Under the home, work phone, fax, mobile, these numerical fields, there's no wrong or right format to do these. So if I wanted to go ahead and use, spaces to indicate my phone number, I can certainly do that. Or if I wanted to include dashes, I can also do that as well. So there's no right or wrong format. In regards to the email address, excuse me, you can have more than one email associated to your contact record. And so the way that you would add more than one email address to your contact record is by including a semicolon here. And so we'll just go ahead and say Maria test.org. Again, fake email address here. And one thing that you do want to make sure you are aware when you are incorporating more than one email for a contact record, whether it's a personal or organizational contact record, is that if you send out a power mail to this individual, Mary Test, it's going to go ahead and send that email to both of these email addresses. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So depending on how you are planning on reaching out to your constituents, you want to make sure you have that understanding. Website here, if you do include a website URL, you will get like a hyperlink for that website in the contact record. So if I put in thedatabank.com and I click submit, it's going to go ahead and populate that in her contact record and it will be clickable. So it'll take you to that website. So it gets handy if you are planning, to have easy access to where you can locate that. Now to the fun part. So here we have various fields that may look a little bit different on your screen versus mine. So because this is a test database and the data here is not real, but rather just a demonstration, you do have here where it says custom text input. So we have fields that can be open-ended, questions that you are wanting to capture through your forms. We also have checkboxes, drop-down fields, multi-select fields, and so on. You'll notice that if I hover over the field name, it's going to highlight in blue. And so because it's highlighted in blue, that indicates that I can add additional options to that checkboxes or the drop downs, whatever that field may be. But it's only if I hover it over and it turns blue. You'll notice that if I do it on the custom text input, there's no way to do anything to that because again, it's an open-ended field. So it's only applicable to those fields that are checkboxes, drop-downs, multi-selects, and so forth. If you would like for me to turn this on for your DataBank account, feel free to reach out to us via support request, and we can certainly add this feature on your DataBank if it's not turned on already. So here I'll just do a little bit of checking this information just so I can demonstrate how it looks on the contact record. Again, these are just additional examples of, again, an additional open-ended question field. Aside from the 6 personal custom fields that are available to your data bank, you do have 5 additional flag fields. So a lot of the times these can be used as checkboxes, drop downs, also open-ended. The only limitation that the flag fields have is that they have I believe, a 15 character max limit. So it's limited in the sense that the characters allowed in these fields are not going to be as vast as the other six personal custom fields that are available within your data bank. Additionally to the flag fields, you do have two numerical fields. Again, totally optional. You don't need to necessarily use them, but they are available in case you need to incorporate an amount field, an ID field, um, and even so two additional date fields. So sometimes we'll have clients that have date of birth as the field, and they'll just have the contact's date of birth if that information is relevant and useful for them to maintain. And then aside from that, we're back to the sort of generic fields that are available within your contact records, the salutation fields, uh, in this case, if I would have had Mariana likes to go by Mary, then I would just put that here under also the notes. So here, Mary is new executive director 2025. And this is going to populate in my contacts record out of you. And then sources. If a contact record comes in through your forms, through an upload, through a registration. It's going to associate that under the sources because I am entering this contact record via the backend. It's not going to automatically fill any of those form activity uh, source list. So here it'll be remaining blank. And then last but not least, for the dub group, this is again not necessary when you are creating a new contact record, but it's going to be more so useful whenever you want to create a group of duplicates. So if I noticed that Mary Test had a whole bunch of other Mary Tests and they all kind of contain different spellings or different addresses, but I know it's the same one. I can create a grouping by associating, say, a number to that group and also associating to the other contact records so that when I go to the duplicates tool located under the um, data tools drop down, I can go ahead and merge all those contact records together. But we've also have other tools in relation to the duplicates tool that allow us to, to not necessarily rely on this dub group field, but it's available if at any point in time you would like to use those. And then of course, contact preferences. One thing I like to say about in this particular section is that the only automated field that's going to get updated based on the activity happening within your data bank is going to be the email dropdown. By default, any contact record that either gets entered or added via sign up, it's always going to set to be okay. But if they've unsubscribed, from your e-power mails that you send out to them, it will be switched from okay to unsubscribed. If the power mail gets hard bounce, meaning that it's not deliverable, it will get switched to a bad email in their contact record. And of course, if you enter information, it's gonna for their address, it's gonna go ahead and populate this. Right now, I don't expect the district information to populate because the address I typed in is incorrect. And I'm gonna go ahead and click save. So because I went ahead and created this contact record, you'll notice that based on the information I typed in, it's going to populate in the record. So over here on the right-hand side, we'll find, more of the personal custom fields that are incorporated into my data bank, and whether I did have those filled in, they'll show here. Over here on the left-hand side, we have more of the identifiable kind of personal information related to Mary Test. Here, like I told you, if I click on it, it's going to take me to that website. And if you noticed, when I enter that company name here is going to be listed in the center. So the way that I know that whether it's an individual versus a organizational contact record is over here by the name here. So because I have Mary Tess, it's telling me that it's an individual, I can make that assumption. But if I remove this and I click save, it's going to go ahead and update the contact name to the company's information as the main name for this contact record. You'll notice that when you are looking at a contact record at a, in the history section. And even if you move across the different tabs of this contact record, over here on the right-hand side, you could mark this contact record as duplicates to identify if there are any other duplicates within your data bank. Again, this is just a new feature that was recently integrated to allow you to merge potential contact records that may be duplicates. In addition to that, we have these gear icons here. And so you can subscribe your contact records to an automation. So for example, filled out sign up form. This is based on anybody that does fill out that sign up form. So that may be an automation that I want this test record to be signed up to if possible. So the automation will be a series of emails sent out on a scheduled time frame based on how I set those up. And then this third one is going to be your mail merge if I want to send this individual a mail merge letter. Because this record has no history of contribution, there will be no information to pull if I were to send sort of a end of year tax letter. So it's mainly applicable to those that have history for those if we're sending out a summary of gift for that mail merge letter purpose. And then if this is a contact record, since we've just created it, if we wanted to have it be part of our current selection, we can click on the plus icon and it will add it to our selection. If we wanted to remove it from our selection, we can just click on that icon again to remove that. And last but not least, we can add this contact to your address book. So I'll go ahead and download that information as part of your downloads. As we are looking at, again, at a glance, the contact view for your contact record, you'll notice that the note will also be listed here. So that's very helpful when we want to do that. As we are looking on adding that activity note, we'll note that the BCC email address is here. And so what is that? If you see this in your data bank, that means that you have the capability of copying this BCC email in any personal emails that you may have between yourself or your organization with, in this case, Mary Test. And so if you are, say, in your Google email and you want to document the emails that you are having in exchange between your organization and Mary Test, you copy this BCC email in the BCC email address field. And when you exchange your emails, it'll be added as the activity note. So when we are looking to add activity notes into your contact record, you'll want to click on this plus icon. There are several activity types that you can do. So if you want to do a to-do task, you can incorporate that to-do activity type. And so, for example, earlier we talked about an automation as well. You can also create a scheduled email activity note that will allow you to schedule an email for this individual at a future date and time for it to be sent. So for example, scheduled email, you'll notice that it populates the PowerMail folder for me to select from. So it could be an e-newsletter. It could also be from the welcome series. So we can say one, giving them understanding of what our organization does, upcoming projects that we may like to offer them, and so forth. So again, this is part of the schedule email activity type. One thing you'll have to do is just ensure you schedule the future date for it to pop up. And for this example, today's example, we're just going to do a to-do task. And basically, I am putting a future date here. One quick note to indicate here is that when you create a to-do task, a reminder is going to be sent once you create this task and also on the due date. So I will get an additional reminder if I assign this to myself, or I can also assign it to anybody else associated uh, within my organization. So here I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll say activity as method. Please send test reminder. So I'm gonna get an email again once I create this task, and the way that you know who is assigned or who got that email is basically the user's email address associated to that user account. So I already got my notification indicating that I have a to-do task. And if I go to my welcome dashboard, I can go ahead and see, okay, there's already one upcoming to-do task. If I click on it, I can see the information here, and then I can mark it as done if, it's already done. And it will also track that information in my contact record. So if I go to Mary Test, I'm going to see that that to-do task has been set as done. And to wrap, today's training on, how to view, the fields associated to a contact record, I just want to go ahead and highlight the various ways of where you can add your contact records. So the first one is, by the quick find, you have one contact record that, you are looking for, and you notice that they don't already exist. You can click it via the add new record. Additionally, you can do so by the add contact, and you also have the opportunity to upload a file, an Excel file, into your data bank. This does not include any other information that's not personal data. So like name, address, email, phones, any of the fields that you already are recording as part of the personal information. If it's data such as like contribution information, you can enter it as a batch, and that's very similar to like an Excel spreadsheet. Otherwise, for like contribution data, if it's not manageable via batches, you can request for the data bank staff to do the upload for you via the backend. So that is available under the full service upload. And so there is a minimum of a $50 fee for this. And this ensures that we make sure that any contribution information gets mapped correctly into your data bank, ensuring that it's the correct campaign, correct segment, and gets uploaded into the correct contact record. Um, so those are the various ways on how you can enter contact records into your data bank. And this does summarize the webinar for today on how to add and edit contact records.